Things had gone well enough so far, so I thought I was prepared. Boy, was I wrong. Sometime back, a couple I know bought a ranch, and one of the things that came for free with the property was this lovely 8-year-old mare. And they quickly realized why the mare had not cost any extra money. This horse was about 8 years old and had already had 6 owners, and for real reasons. Early in her life, she had been horribly abused, I mean broken in the worst possible way. She was defiant, she was distrustful, and she was dominant. She was the boss of the pasture. She didn't let anything or anybody particularly close to her. My friend called me and let me know that both he and his wife had been bitten by this animal, and they didn't know what to do with her. They were afraid nobody would buy her. So they asked if I'd come out there and evaluate her. So I did. And despite me having very limited experience compared to many a horseman, my friend and his wife had next to no experience around horses. And I chalked up their problems as much to their inexperience as I did the horse's history. So I drove down there with my shoulders back, ready to assess the situation, hopeful that I could help. I believed I could. Now, this old horse was big. She was 15 and a half hands, long neck, lean muscle, long legs, textbook appendix quarter horse. You add her checkered past and skittishness into the equation, and it's a recipe for an injury for anybody trying to work with her. Of course, I didn't let that stop me. My first introduction to her was pleasant enough. She did let me approach her, even touch her, stand with her for a moment. But her nerves were edgy, and she definitely was giving me signs that she was unsure about my presence. I remember getting a little too comfortable. I must have, because even though she didn't seem to mind me, she shifted gears on me. I changed speed regarding my movement just a little bit, and she went stiff, raised her head, pinned her ears back, which is not the reaction you want when you're working a horse, ever. But as I calmed, she calmed. And I got this false sense of encouragement. I thought I'd be able to lead her, groundwork her, maybe even ride her, and in pretty quick time. Things had gone well enough so far, so I thought I was prepared. Boy, was I wrong. The next morning I went out to her stall, but this time I wasn't empty-handed. I had her halter with me. And the minute she saw it, she put her back to me. So I shifted to her left side, she readjusted, and then I readjusted. She'd pivot, I'd readjust. So I put the halter down, and she relaxed a little bit. I slowed my breathing and focused on petting her, reassuring her I wasn't a threat. And she calmed down a little bit more. So then I slowly went to grab the halter again, secure her. And to my surprise, she accepted it reluctantly. And I started to lead her out towards the pen. Now, we weren't 10 paces outside her stall when she starts trying to lead me. So I stopped and pushed my free hand into her drive line, trying to get her back where she belonged, which is of course next to me. And we did this little dance 5 or 6 times before we even got to the round pen. And then once we were inside the pen though, she lunged just fine, at least free lunged. She was doing great. I became filled with what proved to be a false confidence. The next day we did more groundwork. This time she let me lead her without trying to test me, which grew my confidence. And by day 3, I felt ready to tack her up and get on. I approached her stall like I had done before, and spent a few minutes being affectionate with her, assuring her that we were good, we were buddies. But when I went to put that saddle pad on her, she tensed. So of course I did more reassuring. And I go to mount the saddle on her, and she spins around towards me, and she bites me right in the backside. I had to check her immediately to protect my space. That's a whole different conversation, but I set the saddle down, removed the pad, and went back to just trying to stay calm with her. And she gentled some. I did eventually manage to get the saddle on her. And we went back out to the pen. Within 10 seconds of me getting on that saddle, she started to buck like crazy. And I ended up taking an unwanted dirt snack when she thumped me to the ground. Luckily, I can take a fall, and I wasn't badly injured or anything like that, but I tried to remount her and she starts to move again. So I aborted mission and decided that I was going to try the next day. Come morning, I was on edge. I had tried to prove to her that I wouldn't hurt her, that I was her friend, and she had not extended me the same courtesy whatsoever. I also only had 2 days left at my friend's farm, and I could feel that ticking clock in my mind. It was just getting louder and louder. And my focus was on helping my friends, helping the horse. Even though my heart was in the right place though, my mind sure as hell wasn't. And if there's one animal that knows when that's the case, it's a horse. A scared horse at that. I went into her stall, gave her rubs and pats, brushed her down, went to halter her. And that's when she did the thing that puts the fear of God into any horseman's heart. She reared up on me, hard and fast. Now you get kicked by a horse from the rear, that's often a trip to the hospital. You have them front hooves come down on you with all that weight above them, and you're likely meeting a mortician. So when she came up, I dove out the way like a flipping clown. I just leapt for it. And I exited her stall. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was mad. I was mad at her. I was mad at myself. I was mad that I couldn't help my friends. I was just filled with rage. So I retreated back to the guest house and I sat with what had happened, just pondered it. I'd been calm. I'd been affectionate. I'd been grounded. I'd done everything right. She wouldn't budge. The next morning as I approached her stall, I went through the same internal preparation routine. I slowed my pace, slowed my breathing, and tried to calm my nerves. And just as I went to step in front of her stall door, something stopped me. I had been trying to communicate with her the way that one does a normal horse. But this was no normal horse. This was an animal that had been through hell. This was an animal that had been through things I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemies. And I hadn't considered that to the degree I probably should have. So I stopped. I thought about what she'd been through. I thought about why she still saw my presence as a potential threat despite my gentleness and my kindness. And I realized what I had done wrong. I had essentially faked my calm. There's no other way to put it. I wasn't calm. I hadn't been. I had been focused. I'd been focused on helping her, but for the sake of my friends, to get through the process, I wasn't fully present with her. I was focused on my schedule. I had but X amount of time to do this, and the clock was ticking. So I had foolishly expected her to meet me on my time. And without realizing it, I had let my ego and all those things on my mind steer my ship right off course, instead of treating her with my fullest understanding and my full presence. So before I walked any closer to her stall, I stopped and I lowered my head and I took the deepest breath of my life, man. And I let go of everything that had been crowding my mind. And I remember what I said. I said, God, speak through my hands, through my voice, and through my presence, and help me to connect with this poor animal. Help me gentle your creation. Guide my hand for her sake. And believe it or not, when I stepped over in front of that stall, she was no longer putting her rears toward me. She was looking me right in the eyes. And I swear to you, she knew. She knew that I was approaching her differently, that I was communicating from a deeper place. I felt it. I felt the change in her. And I went to halter her, and this time, she lowered her head to meet me. She let me lead her, and then much to my surprise, she let me ride her for a few minutes. No bucking, no fuss. She didn't second guess me. Now, I wish I could say she let me ride her all day long. That was a very short ride. But this time when she decided she was done, she let me know by stopping by the edge of the gate instead of tossing my butt onto the ground. So we'll call it a win. On my last day there, we repeated the same exchange and things went smoothly. We had bonded. Now, I'm not going to pretend for a minute that my little 5 days there solved this horse's problems or that I worked some sort of miracle. In fact, she did more for me than I was able to do for her, I guarantee you. All I did was meet her with sincere calm on her terms and in real time. But what she did for me was force me to audit myself internally, to come to the table with tangible clarity. That's something no horse up to that point had ever challenged me to do before. I went out there thinking I could help her. And maybe in a way I did, but she helped me on a much more deep and meaningful level. She gave me the kind of lesson in both horsemanship and life that no program or school can teach you. She forced me to ask myself why I was there. Was I there for me or was I there for her? Because being there for me got me bit, bucked, reared up on, attitude, being tested. But being there for her led me to a breakthrough. That was the difference. And it was a big one. I didn't think we were going to get along at the apex of that. We end up all the time in situations where we think we're prepared, but we realize that we got to change internally before we can serve the party in need. It doesn't make a difference whether it fits our schedule or not. That mare humbled me in a way that no human being ever could, not even close. And she left me with a lesson that I took away from that ranch and I carry with me all the time, whether I'm working a horse or walking my dog. And in case you're wondering, my friends have reported back to me that they've put a lot of work into that animal and she has healed quite a bit. She's doing real well. And I'm honored to have been a small part of that shift within her. I only wish that she knew how impactful she was on me. And then again, maybe on some level she does, I don't know. But have you ever experienced anything like that? If you have, share your story in the comments. I really do enjoy reading them. And if you enjoyed this, please consider throwing me a like and feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm eternally grateful that you're here. On that note, I will catch you on the next one. Y'all be well.